Well, I did it. I passed the PMP exam, and in just a few short weeks, I'll have my project management professional designation. In this video, I'm going to discuss what I did in order to prepare for this exam and how I passed it. The first part of this video is going to look at some of the resources that I used to prepare for writing the PMP exam. And the second part of this video is going to discuss some of the more direct strategies that I used leading up to the exam and strategies I used while I was in the exam. Okay, so for the first part, the resources that I used. The first resource that I really want to talk about is Andrew Ramdale's YouTube videos. I strongly recommend that everyone go watch Andrew's videos on YouTube. They're excellent. They've been made very recently, so they're for the PMP 2021 edition. And he does a really, really excellent job of explaining to you how to answer situational questions. These are the kind of questions that aren't necessarily about knowledge areas from PMBOK. They're more about emotional intelligence or leadership or servant leadership, those types of things that are a little tougher to study for. So I think that it's a really great resource, Andrew Ramdale's YouTube videos, and they're totally free. So you can't lose. Great option for studying. The next thing I want to talk about is Joseph Phillips' PMP course, which is available on Udemy. I would say that I spent about 90% of my time prepping for this exam using Joseph Phillips' course. Joseph's course is really, really good, and he's updated it for the 2021 exam. If I had one criticism, I'd say it felt a little light on Agile, but as I mentioned at the beginning, I've passed, so I can't critique anything too much. And a couple other things about his course, he uses really good, excellent use of humor, so you'll have a bit of fun prepping for this, and it's a bit of a grind to get through, so the lightheartedness with a lot of Joseph Phillips material is really appreciated by me anyways. Next thing I used was Andrew Ramdale's PMP exam simulator. This one was also available on Udemy. It's 720 questions. I got it on sale. It's pretty cheap for what it is. I think it's a useful resource. If in my case, I did Joseph Phillips' course and then I wasn't feeling 100% confident and ready to write the PMP, so I did a few of Andrew Ramdale's exam simulators. These were good, but I would also say the same criticism I said just a moment ago, felt a little light on Agile. Okay, the next thing I used was Prepcast. Prepcast has a free exam simulator. They also have a paid exam simulator, but I used their free one. Prepcast was good, and the price is right, obviously. With Prepcast, two things to watch out for. I felt, again, they were a touch light on Agile content. I also felt that the questions in Prepcast were a little more complicated than anything you actually end up seeing on the PMP exam. So an example of what I'm talking about is if you're reading a sample exam question, or practice exam question, I should say, and that question has 5 or 6 or 7 sentences in it. It's like a whole paragraph block of text. I can tell you right now, that's not what you're going to see on the PMP exam. The questions on the PMP exam are going to be 2, 3, maybe 4 sentences long. And if you think about it, that's very logical. It has to be that way. You do 180 questions on the PMP exam, and you do them over a course of 4.5 hours, but it ends up being more like 4 hours. So you don't have much time to read things or think about things or ponder or anything like that when you're writing the exam. So it wouldn't be fair if they had really long, difficult to read questions. So you won't see those on the exam. A lot of the Prepcast simulator was really good though. And like I said, price is right, so it's not good to complain. Next thing I actually did a certificate in project management a long time ago, and it was heavily focused on the PMBOK. I think if you have the time and you have the resources, it's not a bad idea to go to your local college and do some training on project management there. You'll get to learn from industry professionals, and that's uh, that's helpful. I used Red River College. That's my local college. I enjoyed the program a lot. Truth of the matter is that most employers are looking for the PMP. They're not looking for a college certificate or a college diploma in project management. So getting your PMP is going to be the really important part at the end of the day. But the content in the program at Red River College was really, really good. Next thing I did was that I got the PSM1. As I've mentioned a few times, I felt throughout this whole process that I was having trouble getting enough agile content. So I went to scrum.org and I took the PSM1. This is not a great exam. This is not a great strategy for prepping for your PMP. And the reason for that is the PSM1 and the PMP kind of interpret Scrum in a different way. So you're basically learning the same content, but each kind of has its own twist on it. And you're going to learn things one way, and then you're going to learn things another way, and it's going to be very similar. And for me, I found it a little tough to keep it straight in my head. What's the PMP way? What's the scrum.org way? So there was definitely benefits to taking the PSM1. It still gave me a solid foundation in Scrum. It's just, it's not exactly the same as what PMI does. So that can be tough. Last resource I want to talk about is the Agile Guide from PMI. I would strongly recommend that people at least take a peek at the Agile Guide. If you got the time, you should probably read through it. I would guess it would take a person 8 to 10 hours to read it. I know I spent one day on it, the day right before the exam, and it looks super intimidating, but I will say this, the Agile Guide uses a pretty large font, and the pages are basically half empty in a lot of cases. So you're going to see like it's a couple hundred pages, but you're going to tear through it. So it's not as bad as it seems. Okay, my general exam writing tips. Make sure you get a good night's sleep before the exam. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be tough. You're going to be nervous. Here's the trick I used to make sure I got a good night's sleep. I had almost no coffee the day before the exam. And I was super tired by the end of the day. I went for a good long walk right before bed and I passed right out. So I had a great night's sleep before the exam and things went well for me. So it's always good to get a good night's sleep. Next exam writing strategy I would like to say is don't get discouraged. In Joseph Phillips' course, he talks a lot about PMA, which is a positive mental attitude. Sounds corny, but it is important. As I've mentioned earlier, the PMP exam is fast. It goes quick. I guarantee or almost guarantee you're going to hit a question you won't know how to answer. And don't get discouraged by it. Don't let it ruin you. It'll be okay. So keep that positive mental attitude, and tying in the next point, also from Joseph Phillips' course, is to keep moving forward. While you're writing this exam, keep moving forward. You will hit questions. You will probably hit questions you don't know how to answer. And I would recommend that you pick an answer and you keep moving forward, or you flag it, pick an answer, and keep moving forward. But it goes fast, and you don't want to fall behind on the exam. All right. Next up, with keeping a positive mental attitude, plan to pass the test. Tell yourself you're going to pass the test. That's important. And also, just what's the worst that can happen? In my case, I had those thoughts. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst is you fail it. And if you fail it, go write it 3 months later. What else am I going to say? Pay a couple $100, write it 3 months later. I'm not into money burning parties or anything like that, but I basically just told myself I'm getting the PMP. If I fail, I'll go write it again and then I'll get it. But I passed the first time, so didn't even have to worry about that anyways. Another good way to keep your positive mental attitude. A couple days leading up to the test, try and like cut out social media and the news, and if people are distressing you or anything like that, give them a little space, give you a little space. Keep your mindset positive and clear. You don't want echoes from yesterday's conflict going through your head while you're trying to write this 4-hour exam. So just try and cut out a bit of the negativity or anything that's going to bother you leading up to the exam. Another goal is, in keeping with the PMA, your positive mental attitude, is you're planning to pass the test. You might be planning to get 100%. I don't know what everyone out there is trying to do, but for me, I wanted to pass it. And that means, you don't have to do amazing, you have to pass it. So if a question's there and you don't get it, whatever, right? Keep moving forward, keep that positive mental attitude, keep answering the questions, and hopefully it'll work out well for you as well. So good luck to everyone who's writing the PMP exam, and thank you so much for watching my video. Have a great day.